All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. Shakespeare.
Look closely at the faces around you. Not their features, but the subtle tremors beneath them. The smile that lasts half a second too long. The glance that dodges the truth. The tone that shifts when someone of higher status enters the room. These are not accidents. They are performances. Each word, each expression, each gesture, rehearsed over years of survival in the theatre of human society. You see, from the moment we are born, we are forced into roles: child, friend, lover, employee, leader, and each demands a costume. The tragedy is that we grow so used to the costume that the naked self beneath it begins to rot from neglect. Human beings are actors by nature. The stage is not the theatre, nor the screen. It is existence itself. We sense instinctively that to reveal our raw, unfiltered selves would invite rejection or attack, so we adapt. We edit ourselves into acceptability. We learn to wear masks of warmth when our hearts are cold, to appear humble when we are consumed by pride, to feign confidence when we tremble inside civilization depends on this game of concealment. Yet beneath that polite surface lies the ancient anxiety of being found out, of the mask slipping at the wrong moment, of someone seeing through the performance and catching a glimpse of the fearful animal underneath. You have worn masks your entire life. Some have served you well. They protected you, opened doors, seduced opportunity. Others have betrayed you, suffocated you, turned you into a stranger in your own reflection. Think back to the last time you lied about how you felt, the last time you smiled when resentment burned through your teeth. You did it to survive, didn't you? To keep peace, to win affection, to maintain power. In that instant, you were not being false, you were being human. We deceive not out of malice, but out of instinct. The instinct to endure within the collective illusion that keeps society from descending into chaos. But the danger is subtle, creeping. Every mask you wear too long begins to rewrite your face. Pretend confidence long enough, and you forget your insecurity. Act humble long enough, and you forget your hunger. Play kind long enough, and you start resenting the people who take advantage of that kindness. The mask feeds on your identity until it becomes impossible to tell where the performance ends and the person begins. You call it personality, but it's a collage of adopted gestures and borrowed emotions stitched together by necessity. The law of role-playing is ruthless because it exposes something we'd rather deny, that authenticity itself is a luxury and most people cannot afford it. The world rewards illusion. Charisma, power, persuasion, all rest upon the ability to perform convincingly. Those who master their roles ascend. Those who refuse to play are crushed beneath the indifference of the crowd. To navigate human nature, you must learn to see the masks, not only the ones others wear, but the ones that cling to your own skin. Ask yourself, when was the last time you spoke without calculation? When did you last let silence reveal your discomfort instead of hiding it behind a joke or a clever phrase? Even now, as you listen, a part of you is performing, reacting in ways that preserve your sense of self. You are adjusting, shaping, filtering. You are playing your part. We all are. The great irony is that by pretending, we sometimes reach the truth. The mask does not always hide. It can also reveal. The ancient actors of Greece wore masks not to deceive, but to embody something larger than themselves, a god, a force, a truth beyond the limits of the individual. Perhaps that is the ultimate paradox of human nature. We lie in order to find what is real. We play roles to understand who we are not. And through those layers of performance, we catch fleeting glimpses of the self, pure, naked and momentary, before the curtain falls again. Every human interaction is a silent negotiation of appearances. Before words are exchanged, before intent is declared, the mind begins its ancient calculus. Who is this person? What do they want from me? How should I appear to them? You think you are making choices, but much of it is automatic. The reflexive adjustment of tone, the subtle choreography of posture and eye contact. This instinct for performance is not vanity. It is survival. In the ancestral world, exposure meant vulnerability, and vulnerability meant death. Those who learned to control their expressions, who could conceal fear and project confidence, who could flatter or deceive without being caught, they lived long enough to reproduce the genes of the actor, became the inheritance of the species. Look at any society, any era, and you will find the same ritual of disguise. The Spartan warrior concealed doubt behind the mask of stoicism. The medieval courtier hid ambition beneath layers of etiquette. The modern professional conceals boredom, envy, and exhaustion under the digital smile of social grace. The medium changes, but the impulse remains constant. Civilization is a conspiracy of masks, a mutual agreement to pretend that the social order is natural, that emotions can be managed, that truth should never arrive unfiltered. The brain itself conspires in this theater. Neuroscientists have discovered that the regions responsible for empathy, deception, and imagination overlap. The same circuits that allow you to understand another's feelings also allow you to manipulate them. To read the room is to act. You mirror gestures, modulate tone, soften the edges of your words, all subtle performances in service of connection. The more socially intelligent you are, the more skilled your role-playing becomes. People think of acting as something learned. In reality, it is something remembered, a primal art refined by evolution. Yet this adaptability has a price. The longer you live within your performances, the more estranged you become from your core. You start mistaking approval for identity. You measure your worth by the applause of others. The mirror becomes an oracle, dictating who you are allowed to be. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your sense of self begins to dissolve, not in some dramatic existential crisis, but in a quiet erosion of authenticity. You feel it in the moments of silence after the party, when the laughter fades and you realize you have no idea what you truly feel. You feel it when someone praises you for a quality you know is only half true, and instead of correcting them, you nod, relieved that the performance worked. The irony is that even your rebellion against role-playing becomes another role. You declare yourself authentic, real, different, but those too are masks, carefully crafted images meant to signal virtue or courage. The ego cannot exist without a costume. Nakedness terrifies it. The modern obsession with being true to oneself is a paradox, because the self is not a static entity. It is a collage of personas, each molded by circumstance. The philosopher Kierkegaard once said that the self is a relation that relates itself to itself. In other words, we are what we perform to ourselves internally, not just what we project outwardly. The stage never ends. It extends even into the mind. Consider how you behave when you are alone. Do you truly drop the act, or do you shift into a different one? The introspective self, the anxious self, the imaginary conversation with a critic or lover? Even solitude demands a script. You rehearse arguments that never happened, victories you never won, confessions you'll never make. You are never audience-less. You are your own spectator, your own critic, your own playwright. This endless layering explains why sincerity is so rare and so disarming. When someone speaks without filter, our first reaction is suspicion. We wonder, what's their angle? Because deep down, we know the rule. Everyone is playing something, and those who claim they are not are simply actors of a different kind. The rebels, the mystics, the ones who use rejection of convention as their costume. So when Robert Greene speaks of the law of role-playing, he does not condemn the act. He exposes its inevitability. The point is not to discard your masks, but to recognize them, to become conscious of the performances that shape your destiny. You can either wear your masks deliberately or let them wear you into oblivion. Those who control their roles can move through life with the grace of a seasoned actor, turning situations to their advantage. Those who cannot are doomed to be puppets, manipulated by the scripts society writes for them. Because in the end, you are either the playwright or the character, but never both at once. In the glittering courts of 17th century France, power was not taken by force, it was seduced into surrender. Versailles was not merely a palace, it was a theatre, and its actors were nobles who lived and died by their performances. At the centre of this grand illusion stood Louis XIV, the Sun King, a man who understood the law of role-playing better than any monarch in history. He ruled not through decree, but through presence. His every gesture, the way he walked, the way he paused before speaking, the way he accepted a compliment, was deliberate, rehearsed, orchestrated. Louis realized early that visibility was power. To be seen was to exist, and to exist in the right light was to dominate. He transformed politics into performance. Each morning, he staged le lever du roi, the ritual of his awakening, attended by courtiers who fought for the privilege of watching him dress. They believed they were basking in his favor. In truth, he was binding them to his orbit. By controlling the stage, Louis controlled perception, and perception is power. The nobles, stripped of real authority, became his audience. Their ambitions, once dangerous, were now diverted into the pursuit of appearances, finer clothes, wittier conversation, grander displays of etiquette. They performed loyalty, and he rewarded the performance with illusionary significance. Behind the masks of civility, envy festered, but no one dared drop the act. To break character in Versailles was to commit social suicide. Louis played his role flawlessly because he understood something most never grasp. The mask is not the enemy. The mask is the instrument. A mask can channel the divine, the noble, the commanding. When worn consciously, it liberates. It allows a man to step beyond his limitations, to wield identity as a weapon. Louis, born of human flesh, transformed himself into the embodiment of the sun, radiant, untouchable, eternal. That was no accident of ego. It was mastery of illusion. His reign endured because he made belief his fortress. Now, contrast this with his successor, Louis XVI, who detested pretense. Awkward, sincere, and uncomfortable with display, he wished to be authentic. He broke with the theatre of kingship. He spoke plainly, walked without ceremony, invited familiarity, and in doing so, dismantled the sacred illusion that held his authority together. The people saw the man behind the crown and found him ordinary. The divine mask shattered, and the monarchy crumbled with it. Authenticity, unfiltered and uncalculated, was his undoing. History is filled with such ironies. The powerful are rarely those who are most genuine. They are those who understand how to choreograph their authenticity. The actor who knows he is acting always holds an advantage over the one who believes he is real. The politician, the lover, the artist, all must navigate the same paradox. To move hearts, one must craft appearances. The moment you expose the machinery of your act, the spell breaks. Even outside the throne room, you can see this law play out in the small dramas of everyday life. The manager who projects calm while chaos erupts beneath him. The influencer who curates relatability for profit. The lover who exaggerates vulnerability to gain trust. None of it is pure deception. It is adaptation, social alchemy. Every audience demands a role, and the wise learn to provide it without losing themselves entirely in the performance. The tragedy is not that people act, it's that they forget they are acting. Louis XIV played the God King and knew it was theatre. His awareness made him invincible. His descendants mistook the crown for their face and paid in blood. So remember this: life is not a search for authenticity. It is a mastery of expression. The one who knows how to shape appearances shapes reality itself. What Louis XIV understood, and what nearly all of us fail to grasp, is that identity is not discovered. It is designed. The face you wear, the tone you adopt, the posture you assume, these are not accidents of personality. They are acts of composition. You are not a fixed being navigating a stable world. You are a shifting reflection inside an equally fluid environment. To survive in such a world, you must treat life as performance, not in the shallow sense of pretending, but in the profound sense of creating. The modern world despises this idea. It praises authenticity as if rawness were a virtue. But look closely, and you'll see that this cult of sincerity is just another costume. People curate their honesty with the same precision actors use for their lines. They confess on social media to appear vulnerable. They overshare to appear deep. They reject polish to seem genuine. Every act of rebellion becomes another performance. The truth is not hidden behind the mask. It is the mask, because meaning is born in the presentation. Without expression, there is nothing to be understood. When you walk into a room, people do not see you. They see your projection. They interpret you through the light of their own fears, expectations, and desires. You cannot control their perception entirely, but you can direct it. That is the secret behind charisma and influence. The best performers in history, from monarchs to mystics to revolutionaries, were not liars. They were directors of attention. They understood that what others believe about you determines your fate far more than what is true about you. Think of how the world rewards illusion. The confident man is trusted more than the competent one. The serene woman is believed wiser than she may be. The one who controls his reactions appears powerful, even if he is powerless. Perception becomes reality, not because the world is blind, but because it is overloaded with stimuli, and so it looks for symbols, not substance. Appearances are shortcuts for understanding, and humans, forever impatient, depend on those shortcuts to decide who to follow, who to trust, who to love, and who to destroy. This is why the law of role-playing is not optional. Whether you like it or not, you are already being cast in others' stories. The question is, will you take control of your role, or let them write it for you? Those who refuse to perform imagine themselves virtuous, but their virtue often masks weakness, an inability to adapt, to mold, to engage the human theatre with awareness. They mistake honesty for strength, when, in truth, it is often laziness. The refusal to learn the language of masks. Understand, the conscious performer does not become false, he becomes free. He can play the charmer in one setting, the intellectual in another, the stoic in a third, not because he is fake, but because he understands that each environment demands a translation of the self. He is multilingual in the art of expression. He can shift without losing center. That is mastery. But the unconscious performer, the one who thinks he is real, Is the true deceived. He wears roles handed to him by culture, by upbringing, by fear. He becomes the good son, the agreeable employee, the endlessly accommodating friend, not by choice, but by conditioning. When the mask cracks, he feels panic, as if life itself were collapsing, because he cannot tell where his identity ends and the costume begins. To see the game is to wake from it. And once you wake, you no longer perform out of desperation, you perform out of intention. You sculpt your presence like an artist sculpts form. You adjust your words, your rhythm, your silences, not to deceive, but to move others in the direction you choose. This is the ultimate power, not brute force, not dominance, but the quiet ability to direct perception itself. When the actor knows his role and the audience remains unaware of the script, the actor rules the stage. That is as true in the boardroom as in the court of Versailles, in a marriage as in politics. Every day you walk into invisible theatres, conversations, negotiations, seductions, and the roles shift like weather. Those who notice the shift thrive. Those who don't become background characters in someone else's production. You cannot escape performance, but you can master it. The wise do not seek to remove the mask. They learn to breathe through it, speak through it, live through it, until the performance becomes an instrument of truth, not its prison. If you wish to navigate humanity without drowning in it, you must become a conscious actor. To live blindly in your roles is to be enslaved by them. To reject them outright is to become isolated and irrelevant. Power lies in the middle, in awareness, discipline, and design. Begin by observing. Spend a single day watching others as though they were characters in a play, the woman speaking softly in a meeting. Is that shyness or strategy? The man whose laughter always comes half a second late. Does he want to be liked, or is he studying those who try to impress him? The couple at dinner performing affection. Are they in love or terrified of losing the illusion? You will find that nearly every human gesture, word, and silence is a calculated move to shape perception. Once you see this, you will never unsee it. The world becomes transparent, and people become readable, not by their words, but by the tension between what they say and what they reveal. Now turn that gaze inward. Watch yourself. You will find that your every expression, even your supposed honesty, is layered with intent you flatter to disarm. You confess to gain sympathy. You listen not to understand, but to build leverage for later. Do not judge yourself for this. It is the language of survival. The only true danger is ignorance, to act without realizing you are acting. The unaware performer is the easiest target in the world. To master this law, cultivate detachment. Think of yourself as an actor studying your own role. Ask, what effect am I producing? What emotion am I triggering? What mask suits this situation? When you walk into a room, do not aim to be understood. Aim to be felt. Understand that charisma is not authenticity. It is direction. It's the ability to focus others' emotions toward the image you wish to project. People follow not the real you, but the one who moves them. This is where most fail. They think power means domination. In truth, it means control of perception. A single word spoken with timing, a pause held just long enough to create tension, a subtle shift in posture. These are the tools of influence. The performance must be invisible. The greatest actors never appear to be acting. They seem natural, inevitable, magnetic. You can achieve this only through deliberate practice. Every interaction becomes rehearsal. When you speak, listen to the tone beneath your words. When you lie, lie gracefully. not to deceive for greed, but to protect the order of things. When you flatter, mean it strategically, not out of weakness, but out of control. The goal is not moral purity, it is mastery of expression. The most dangerous individual is the one who can play any role and remain himself beneath it. But beware, every performance you perfect has the power to consume you. The diplomat becomes a permanent appeaser. The seducer forgets intimacy. The comedian hides his despair behind the compulsion to entertain. These are the ghosts of forgotten selves, people who let their characters replace their consciousness. To avoid that fate, you must periodically withdraw from the stage, step into solitude. Let silence remind you that beneath all your masks there is still a pulse, fragile, wordless, and fleeting. That pulse is not your true self, for that concept is a myth. It is simply awareness, the quiet observer that notices each role, but plays none. You must train this awareness like a muscle. Watch yourself without flinching. The moment you can catch your impulses in real time, the instinct to flatter, the reflex to defend, the urge to appear noble, you begin to regain control. You no longer react blindly. You choose your mask. You can pivot in an argument, charm in a crisis, or withdraw in calculated silence, all without losing balance. And once you master that, something extraordinary happens. You begin to sense the masks of others as if they emit heat. You can feel when someone is acting out of fear, ambition, desire. You can predict their next move. To the untrained, this seems like intuition. In truth, it is pattern recognition born of ruthless attention. With time, it becomes your second nature. You stop being a participant in the drama of others. You become the director. Remember then, the world is not moved by truth, but by illusion skillfully played. Those who resist this fact live frustrated, blaming others for their blindness. Those who embrace it live freely, shaping perception as they please. That freedom, however, demands humility, to never mistake your mask for your soul. The actor who believes his own lines is the first to fall when the script changes, so perform with grace, but remain awake. For the stage of life never ends. Only the actors change, the scenes repeat, and the audience forgets that they too are performing. There comes a point in life when you look into the mirror and realize you do not recognize the eyes staring back. You see a collage of echoes, a reflection assembled from years of pretending, performing, surviving. You search for the real you beneath it all and find only silence. But that silence is not emptiness, it is space. The stage waiting for its next act. We crave authenticity as if it were a place we could arrive at, a destination of truth. But authenticity is not discovery. It is awareness, to know that you are acting, and to choose your act is far more honest than to live blind inside the illusion of sincerity. You are not meant to peel away every mask. You are meant to wear them consciously, each serving a purpose, each aligned with intent. To live without roles is not freedom. It is exposure, a rawness that invites destruction. The wise do not seek to be unmasked. They seek to master the art of masking without forgetting that it is an art. Think of existence as a vast masquerade ball. The fools tear off their disguises, shouting about truth, and are promptly escorted out, naked, vulnerable, forgotten. The wise glide through the crowd, adapting to each dance, aware that the mask conceals and reveals in equal measure. They can become anyone without losing themselves, because their identity rests not in the costume, but in the consciousness wearing it. There is a strange mercy in this realization. Once you stop demanding purity from yourself, you begin to see others with compassion. You no longer rage at hypocrisy. You recognize it as the price of civility. You forgive the performances of the world because you understand their necessity. And when you act with intention, not deceit. The difference is everything. To live well under this law, you must remember 3 truths. First, that everyone around you is acting, even in love, in grief, in prayer. Second, that these performances are not lies, but expressions of need. And third, that power comes not from unmasking the world, but from directing its play. If you understand this, you will no longer feel insulted by pretense. You will see through it, maneuver within it, and use it without shame. You will stop chasing authenticity and begin shaping presence. You will know when to smile, when to remain silent, when to bow, when to vanish. You will become the actor who knows the play, the audience who knows the stage, and the silence that contains them both. And in rare, unguarded moments, when the lights dim and no one is watching, you may catch a glimpse of something unmasked and eternal, the observer behind all roles, the consciousness that outlives every performance. That, perhaps, is as close as any human can come to truth. So, when the curtain rises again, and it always does, step forward without fear. Wear your chosen mask with grace, not deceit. For in the theatre of human nature, the greatest freedom is not to escape the role, but to play it so well that the world cannot tell where the act ends and the person begins.